Hi, I'm Jessica.
And I'm Kira.
And we are the Keepers of the Books. Today we're going to start with children's books around 2nd grade, and we'll go to a few YA, and we will finish with several adult books, some popular ones that are coming out right about now. And let's see, Kira, why don't you start for us today?
So our first book is called The Study Hall of Justice. So this book features Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman, and they've been accepted to Ducard Academy. But Ducard Academy isn't what it appears. The other students seem more interested in being evil than going to class. Will they figure out what's really going on? This is a very fun, action-packed novel for grades 3 and up for those who like Superman and Batman and other DC characters.
All right, our next one is Star Wars The Force Awakens, Finn's story. This is Star Wars that you're used to. What happens in Finn's adventure is FN 2187, or Finn, is who's telling the story, or at least from his point of view. This is the story you know in the movie, and it's the entire movie told in more of a summary type format. That's fun for about grades 2 through 6 or ages 8 through 12, depending on the reading level of the child. You could even go up to 7th or 8th grade if you have a lower level reader. And they're not going to feel like they're being talked down to because it's a story they know, which is wonderful for a high-low read. So he's trying to leave the First Order. He's concerned about their motives. He's pretty much thinking he's done. So he finds a way out to get to the Resistance, and the rest of the story you know if you've seen the movie. In fact, I think it pretty much ends in the same exact spot.
Our next book is Pete's Dragon, The Lost Years. In this book, it starts before Pete is found in this Disney movie. So family gets in a car wreck, and he comes across Elliot, who saves him from some wolves, and thus begins their adventure. And we all know where it ends, but it's fun getting there. The pictures are beautiful, the story is fun, a lot of adventure. Great for grades 3 and up or ages 8 to 12. So if you're a fan of Pete's Dragon, this is a book for you.
All right, our next one is another installment in the Cupcake Cousins series, Winter Wonders. This series is better if you start with book 1, but you don't have to. So if you're just looking for a fun Christmas read, this might be it. So this one follows Dahlia and Willow, and they have been made bridesmaids in their aunt's wedding. Now, of course, since it's a Cupcake Cousins book, not everything goes according to plans. There are 7 recipes for winter or holiday type foods in here. The first one's hot chocolate, and then there's like peppermint bark and fried but not flaming bananas. And these are the recipes they use in the story and that end up at the wedding. Or do they? So, again, grades 2 through 6 or ages 8 through 12 will enjoy this book. This is a fun series, and girls will really connect with it, especially since it has the recipes in it. It's really going to be popular.
Our next one is Ghost by our infamous Raina Telgemeier. She's one who brought you Sisters, Smile, and Drama. This is her newest one. In this book, Kat and her family are moving to Northern California to help with her sister Maya's cystic fibrosis. And it's very much influenced by Hispanic culture. So it's during the time of the Day of the Dead, and Kat runs into some ghosts. Will she make friends with them? So this is very much a graphic novel format. Great story, fun adventure. If you're a fan of her other books, you'll definitely want to read this one. So this one's towards the younger end of her fan group, so ages 8 to 12 or grades 3 and up. Okay, this next one is Manners and Mutiny. This is the 4th one in the Etiquette and Espionage series, also known as the Finishing School. In this book, Sophronia is about to finish up her years at the finishing school, and she's a little sad because her friend Soap has become a werewolf and isn't at the school anymore. Well, she gets some intel from her friend Soap that ends up leading her to believe that the picklemen are trying to take over the country using their mechanicals. Will Sophronia be able to stop them? So this is a wonderful, fast-paced conclusion to this series. If you've read the first 3, you'll like this book. If you haven't read them, go read them. The first one, like I said, is Etiquette and Espionage. This would be best for grade 7 and up, but could go as low as 5th grade.
Our next book is The Spy by Paulo Coelho. This one is definitely an adult book, so I wouldn't even try to put this in a junior high or a high school, to be honest, because this is the story of Mata Hari. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar with Mata Hari, she made her living through exotic dancing, or the beginning was probably more like what we would call cabaret today. And she made her living also by trading sexual favors for not so much intel as a way to be financially stable. This starts at the beginning where she's young and she's just getting married, and she reflects back on her rape. So there's on-page rape there. I really did like the ending. The story follows the beginning and the end tied together with the letter that she wrote for her daughter and what she wanted her daughter to know about her, because she did not end up raising her daughter. And it goes into how she starts getting accused of being a spy and how she gets tied into that world. And it also discusses how she ends up being sent to death. And her final ending is on page, the whole story. But the ending and the conclusion she comes to is really quite wonderful, and it's written very well. His books are fantastic.
This next book is Alexander McCall Smith's new book, Precious and Grace. It's 17th in the first #1 Ladies Detective Agency. Susan is the client, Precious and Grace are the detectives, and they live in Botswana, and they've been hired by Susan to find her nursemaid called Rosie. And when Rosie shows up in the picture, Grace starts to think Rosie might be a fraud. And as they delve into the case, they realize there's a lot more going on than they realize. Will they solve the case? So if you're a fan of his other books, this is a great mystery adventure series, but you don't have to start with book 1, but I recommend it. And it's definitely an adult book.
Our final book today is The Chemist by Stephanie Meyer. A lot of you were looking forward to this one. It did come out last week, and I picked it up and got it and told you I was excited to read it, and it is really good. Stephanie Meyer reminds you why people like reading her books so much, and why her stories just engage the reader. So in The Chemist, you have ex-agent and currently a black market doctor whose name changes throughout the book. So it's just based on her cover. And what she's doing is basically she's running for her life. She looks like the most paranoid person in the world. She makes Michael Weston from Burn Notice look like he's a laid-back, beach-going sort of guy who just hangs out and does nothing all day. You'll also find that, so she basically gets pulled back in to this world. She's told that they have another mission for her. But to tell you this without ruining the book is going to be really hard. So she gets pulled in, and there's a guy she has to track. He's involved in there's a biochemical warfare, it involves drugs and everything else. So she has to start investigating that murder. But remember, she's out in the dark. She doesn't have a lot of the connections anymore. And to make it worse, she's still running for her life, but not quite as much now that they've pulled her in, although people are still looking for her. So at that point, she has to do all of this without getting traced, without getting caught, and there's more people after her than she realizes at this point. The reason she's called the Chemist is because she's a doctor, but she tortures her victims. That was her job, to torture them and to withdraw information. And to get the information out, she uses her own concoctions of drugs and chemicals that she's made that do all sorts of crazy things. So I really enjoyed this one. It was fun, it was creative, and it has a new twist on, you know, the adventure on the run government agent novel. I'm gonna say adult on this one, but if you have a more liberal high school and you're a librarian or a parent, you might want to read this one first if you're concerned about that. It might be okay for some, but not for others. But I wouldn't put it in a middle school or a junior high, even though it is Stephanie Meyer, and they might be asking for it. So it's a little older compared to her other books, because I would say The Host could go down to high school in 9th grade, even 8th for some, but this one can't. So just keep that in mind if you're buying this for other people. So we're glad you joined us today, and we want to know what information you are interested in. So please interact with us below in the comments. Write what questions you would have for a librarian, and we do answer those as much as we can. And some of them we do address in future movies or videos like this one. So if you like this video, please hit like and watch our other videos. You will find a subscribe button hanging out somewhere around here. Please subscribe for future updates as well. Or share and share this with your friends. Pass it around and let other people know what kind of stuff we're reading, and let them know what you're reading too. You can put that in the comments as well, because we love to hear what you're reading. If we know what you're reading, we can help you find read-alikes or other books that you might enjoy as well. Well, have a great time reading this week, and we will too. We'll have many more books for you coming soon. We did change our posting dates to Sunday and Wednesday, and we're on Mountain Standard Time, so they'll post in that range. But for this upcoming time between the holidays, we're going to have a few extra videos for you, because we have a lot of stuff to review. And we want to share all of that with you, because we know that you guys are out buying presents for Christmas and Hanukkah and everything else right now. And there's tons of new stuff out right this time of year, which makes this really exciting. So until next time, happy reading. Bye.
Bye.